Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is KatoLlama365 here, and as you can see today we are going to be talking all about lockers in the game Dead by Daylight. This is part of a series on my channel where I go through every single aspect of the game Dead by Daylight and talk about it in detail, explain how it works, everything from killers, perks, maps, everything in between. This is one of those things. It's called an interactable, and like I said, today we're talking about lockers. So before I move forward any further into the information, just a quick disclaimer that all the information I have today is taken straight from the Dead by Daylight wiki. I'm going to go ahead and link that down below in the description, so when this video is over, if you'd like to, you can go check that out for yourself. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. Right here I have a picture of lockers as they appear in-game. So this is a closed locker. This is how the locker is going to appear if it is empty or after a survivor has interacted with it and is totally inside. So they are going to look exactly the same. These two lockers here shown are two of the lockers in the basement. So these are two that will spawn on every single map in the same spot. Alright, so with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the information. First of all, kind of a short overview. Lockers are one of the 16 props featured in the game Dead by Daylight. They're featured as tall, red cabinets in which survivors can hide in, and they are also used by the hunters to refill her hunting hatchets. They are mainly an interactable for survivors. It's another way for them to hide from the killer. However, killers are able to search those lockers, find survivors inside, and certain killers, such as the huntress, will actually stop there more often so she can refill her hatchet. So that is something to keep in mind if you're playing against the huntress. That she might go to a locker not knowing you're inside of it, and she'll find you there instead. Like I said, that's just something to keep in mind when you are playing against the huntress. Alright, and let's move on to how to use lockers. Alright, so survivors can enter empty lockers, but if a locker already has another survivor hiding inside of it, the player attempting to enter will instead show a surprise animation and close the door on the other survivor. If the locker is empty, however, survivors will either walk in, which is mostly quiet, or sprint in, which will make a lot more noise. You can sprint in without making a lot of noise, but you can use the Make teachable perk, quick and quiet, and this is also going to reduce animation time. The same applies when walking back out again. So, in short, that's if a survivor is already in a locker, you're going to open the locker and then close the door back on them. However, if the locker is empty, your survivor is going to enter the locker and close the door behind them. Alright, it also says there are two ways to enter and exit a locker. There's the slower but quieter way and the faster but loud way, and depending on circumstances such as where the killer is located and if you have certain perks equipped, if you sprint in or out of a locker, it can sometimes play that loud noise effect, or loud noise notification, I should say, and the killer will be alerted to your exact location. Alright, let's move on to that next paragraph there. If a killer opens a locker with a survivor hidden inside of it, the killer, in a unique animation, so that means there's a different animation for each killer, the killer will first grab the survivor out of the locker and then carry them on their shoulder, forcing them to wiggle out of the killer's grasp. If a survivor is in a locker for an extended period of time, crows will begin to land on its roof. If the survivor hides inside it long enough, stillness crows will start circling above the locker, eventually alerting the killer to their location. Alright, so if you're hiding in a locker and the killer searches the locker, you're going to go right on their shoulder. So it does not matter if you are healthy or injured, you will go right into the dying state and be placed on the killer's shoulder, and you will be probably taken right to a hook. So keep that in mind. You do not have to be injured to go directly into that dying state. The second part of this paragraph here says, as well, if you are planning on just hiding in a locker for an extended period of time, that's maybe not a good idea. Not only because it's going to make you a bit of a bad teammate, but also crows are going to start circling that locker or landing on top. They're going to make noise and they're going to alert the killer right to your location. Alright, this last little bit here says that lockers have a muffling effect on survivors' breathing and groans of pain. It's about the equivalent to that of Iron Will at Tier 1. That is a Jake Park teachable perk, and if I remember correctly, that's going to muffle 50% of that noise. So while inside a locker, survivors will breathe quietly, which can still be picked up by an experienced killer. So if you're playing against more experienced killers, especially ones that might have really good headphones, keep that in mind that they can still hear you. There is that chance. Let's go ahead and keep moving. If a survivor is injured, they're going to grunt in pain, but still much quieter than if they were out in the open. If the survivor has iron will, the survivor will be totally inaudible. However, if the survivor is injured, they will leave pools of blood as they enter the locker. The hiding time is long enough that the survivor will leave at least 2 pools of blood at the foot of the locker. Observant killers can easily track this. So that's just saying be careful when you enter a locker. Even if you are going to be quieter once you've gotten inside the locker, you do need to keep in mind that killers, especially those that are more experienced, will also be looking for pools of blood. If they see that blood right outside the locker, they're going to open it. You're going to be caught. Another thing that kind of goes along with this is scratch marks. Keep in mind, if you run right up to a locker, even if you don't sprint into the locker and make that loud noise notification, if you have scratch marks leading right up to the locker, the killer is going to go straight for you, open the locker, you're going to be caught. So keep that in mind if you're trying to be more stealthy, that you don't just want to run straight to the locker and give yourself away. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on. So there are quite a few locker-related unlockables. I'm going to go over those for the killers first. So there are 2 add-ons there. So the first is deerskin gloves, and both of these are for the huntress, by the way, before I talk any more about it. First, like I said, is deerskin gloves. It's of uncommon rarity. The description reads, cured leather gloves that protect the hands and give a sure grip. This is going to moderately reduce hatchet reload time for the huntress. That means she's going to be spending less time reloading those hatchets as she's opening the locker. Alright, the second one there, a pungent vial, I believe. I would say vial, but vial. That's of rarity. The description reads, the clear liquid has a very particular stench that can be recognized and tracked by some animals. Hatchet auras in lockers are revealed to the huntress when within 36 meters. So what that means for the huntress is she's going to be able to see where lockers are as long as she is within 36 meters. That way she knows where she can go refill her hatchets. Alright, moving on to perks. There is one perk for killers. It is a Legion teachable perk. So it's called Iron Maiden, and if this is equipped, you open lockers 30, 40, or 50% faster. Survivors who exit lockers suffer from the exposed status effect for 15 seconds, and their location is revealed for 4 seconds. So like I said, this is a Legion teachable perk. So if you are playing as Legion or have this perk on another killer, not only are you going to be able to open and search lockers much faster, but if a survivor hides in a locker, as soon as they leave, they are not only going to be exposed, which means you can down them in only 1 hit as opposed to 2, but they are also going to reveal their location to you for 4 seconds. So keep that in mind. That's actually a pretty powerful perk if you know how to use it. Alright, moving on to survivor perks. So there are no add-ons for survivors that have to deal with lockers, but there are quite a few perks. Here's 2 of them here. The first, Dance With Me. That is a Kate Denson teachable perk. When performing a fast vault or leaving a locker in a sprint, you leave no scratch marks for 3 seconds. However, this has a cooldown of 60, 50, or 40 seconds depending on the tier of that perk. So if you are leaving a locker quickly, as I said before, you can either leave it slow or fast. If you're leaving it fast, you're not going to leave any scratch marks for 3 seconds. That also applies to windows, but we're going to go ahead and just leave it at the locker right now. The second perk there, Head On, a Jane Romero teachable perk. When your mind is set, there better be no one standing in your way. While standing in a locker for 3 seconds, Head On activates. While Head On is activated, perform a rushed action to leave the locker. It's going to stun the killer for 3 seconds as long as they are standing within range. A rushed action, again, it would be leaving the locker quickly or at a sprint. After you do this, it's going to cause the exhausted status effect for 60, 50, or 40 seconds if the stun was successful. And once again, that's dependent on the perk tier. Alright, so Head On can also not be used when you are exhausted or if you have stillness crows. So if you stay in that locker for too long and crows start to accumulate, you cannot use Head On. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. These are the other 2 perks that have to deal with lockers for survivors. The first one here on the screen, Inner Strength, is a Nancy teachable perk. You look inwards and trust your instincts when you feel lost and alone. Each time you cleanse a totem, Inner Strength activates. And real quick, it does not have to be a hex totem, it can be a dual totem as well. While Inner Strength is activated, hiding inside a locker for 10, 9, or 8 seconds when in the injured state or afflicted by the deep wound status effect, will automatically heal you 1 health state. Inner strength does not activate if you are afflicted by the broken status effect. So if you are injured or have deep wound, you can be healed 1 health state so long as you have already cleansed a totem, and this way you don't have to worry about healing yourself or going to find another survivor to heal you. Alright, moving on to Quick and Quiet, a Meg Thomas teachable perk. You do not make as much noise as others when quickly vaulting over obstacles or hiding in lockers. The vault and hide actions, noise detection, and audio range is reduced by 100%. So your killers are not going to be able to hear your vaulting or leaving lockers at all. Quick and Quiet can only be triggered once every 30, 25, or 20 seconds, and once again that is based on the level of that perk, that tier, that perk. So let's go ahead and move on. I have the change log here, so this is just a log of the changes, but over the course of the game, what they've made tweaks to in terms of lockers. So I just want to go through it so you know how it is in the game today. For the Huntress, the locker search animation when she has max ammo is going to be reduced. So instead of playing for 3 seconds, if she has max ammo already, it's only going to be a 2-second animation. That just saves her a second there. The next part there, interacting with a locker while cloaked, will force the Wraith out of the cloak if he finds a survivor. If he doesn't find anyone, he will stay cloaked. So as you all probably know, playing as the Wraith, he can either be cloaked, where he is pretty much invisible, or uncloaked. So in this case, if he is already cloaked, he's invisible. However, he goes to check a locker and there's a survivor inside, he will immediately become uncloaked. Moving on, if you hide inside a locker, it's going to block any aura reading ability a killer might have. So if a killer has a perk such as barbecue and chili or any other perk that is going to show them auras, if you hide in a locker, they are not going to be able to see you at all. And then also, if the bleed out timer ends while you're in a locker, survivors are going to automatically exit that locker. Alright, the last part there. Hiding inside a locker applies the blindness status effect, blocking any aura reading ability the hiding survivor might have. So you're not going to be able to use any perks, add-ons, anything of that nature that has to deal with seeing auras while you're hiding in a locker. Alright, and then the last part, reduced the distance at which survivors' breathing and grunting can be heard is going to be reduced while they are hiding in lockers, so it has reduced that even more, and that's why I talked about a second ago when dealing with how loud survivors are going to be in lockers compared to normal. Alright, just a couple last things here. Just some trivia. So lockers were also known as closets, so sometimes you still hear people refer to them as closets. And then a couple of these are the same. So hiding inside a locker will block any aura reading abilities that the killer and the hiding survivor might have. That is that blindness. This is actually good. Pardon me. This is good if you're going against the doctor, and not a lot of people know this. So lockers are going to prevent the doctor's shock therapy and static blast from increasing a survivor's level of madness. However, if the survivor is in Tier 3 madness, their survivor will not scream while inside the locker, but they will still hallucinate. For the Huntress, lockers are where the Huntress replenishes her hunting hatchets, and in the back of every locker there is a rack of 3 hatchets, and she will always, always, always take the one in the center. And then the last part there is about the Wraith again. If he is cloaked while opening a locker and he finds a survivor, he will uncloak over time while the animation is playing. So as he's grabbing that survivor, he will be uncloaked. Alright, so that's everything I have for you guys today, all about lockers. I hope it was informative, and I hope you guys learned something. Go ahead and put down in the comments below whether or not you like to hide in lockers. Sometimes survivors do, sometimes they don't. It just depends on your play style. So I'm curious to know kind of what your guys' play styles are. While you're down there in the comment section, go ahead and also leave a like on this video. That way I know that you liked it, and I know that I can keep creating content like this. Also, go ahead and click that subscribe button. That way once again, I know that you like this content. It only takes you 1 second to subscribe and it will make my day. And while you're down there as well, go ahead and press that notification bell next to the subscribe button. That way you don't miss any content from me, whether it be videos like this, talking about Dead by Daylight and being informative. You will also not miss any other videos from me, such as gameplay, developer update, announcements, anything of that nature. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!